Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
And I'm number one fan, Tim.
I have bitched about my neighbors many times.
Which one? The ones that side or that side?
The Scooby Dumbfuck twins across the street.
Not the one that stares at sometimes when I leave your house, he's staring at me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then there's the dumb skank next door who just... Let me paint a picture for you.
That's the one you thought you heard a body thud and then 10 minutes later cops show up?
No, to rehash that story, I heard some arguing because it was a warmer month. And I heard a female saying, "Ow, you're hurting me." And I'm like, uh-oh. And then I heard the thud and I went, fuck. So I called PD. I'm like, it could have been a thud. I would hope it wouldn't be a gunshot. And then they came 5 deep, walking down the goddamn street like they were showing up to the OK Corral. 3 of them low ready with their handguns. 2 of them with their ARs slung ready to rock. Overkill. And then they beat on the doors and nobody answered. Then they say, "Oh, I see kids downstairs sleeping on the couch." And they just kept pounding and pounding, but the kids didn't move. I don't know if they were told to not move. But if somebody says, maybe I heard a gunshot and there's 2 kids on a couch, you would think that they would feel they have the okay to try to force an entry.
I don't think they are totally willing to do that because if it tends to be a null and void situation, then they're responsible for damages.
Well, it was clearly a domestic assault going on.
You could have just been giving her too hard of a massage for all you know.
A massage where I heard a body almost come through the fucking exterior wall of the house.
I'm not talking about that, but the part where she's like, "Ow, you're hurting me." I mean, I've given Mrs. Number One fan a massage. She's like, "Ow."
No, this was not, "Ow." This was, "Ow, you're hurting me."
Okay.
This was fucking inflection that someone was being abused. So anyways, she's got 3 daughters. 2 of them are a little bit older. 1 is my kid's age. The other 2, I'm pretty sure, are half retarded and going to end up fucking teenage moms. The younger one, I think, has some fetal alcohol syndrome if I'm going off the spacing of her eyes. Her mom's a drunk. The dad of the youngest one, he's a super drunk. And they've had plenty of fisticuffs where she left him beaten and bloodied and the cops didn't arrest her for it. I don't know why.
Because he didn't press charges.
Oh, he wanted to.
Then why didn't he press charges?
They would not take her.
Okay, well, it sounds like something's fucked up with the PD in your area.
Yeah, I'm surprised that she doesn't have multiple domestic assaults under her belt because he was bleeding from the head. Now, maybe it's because he had liquor on his breath. And they're like, "Oh, well, it's he said, she said."
Begets, yeah.
But unless she was bleeding too and had bruises, I would have taken her on principle and then left it up to the judge to give bail and her to present her case in court because this guy was victimized multiple times. I know that for a fucking fact.
Yeah, I don't get why people stay in relationships because they're constantly abused. I know there's that whole, they feel like they need to be there or things will get worse if they leave or whatever, but I mean, give me a fucking break. An abusive relationship is not going to get better.
Well, if you have nowhere to go.
Everyone has somewhere to go.
Well, okay. Yeah, a homeless shelter.
Yeah, anywhere but fucking there.
And then leaving your daughter there.
You mean to tell me nobody, and there's people out there that don't have any friends? They don't have a family member they can't stay with for a week to get figured out?
You don't know a lot of addicts, do you?
No, I never know an addict.
There you go. Lack of
How about other
experience.
Addicts?
No. Couch crashing, that's... When somebody's trying to get their shit together, they're not couch crashing with other junkies and drunkies. I'll paint a picture for you. I fell asleep on the couch, and then I awoke to a boom outside in the street. And I'm like, is somebody fucking shooting off fireworks? And I let it go, and then boom, boom, louder boom. I'm like, what the fuck? I look out the window, and there's a truck that drives off somewhat hastily. I go outside, and I just stand there, and I look around to see if there's anybody around.
Did you just witness a drive-by shooting?
No, I didn't think so. Because these were booms, not bangs. And
Could be a suppressed weapon.
we're in the suburbs. I feel like that's not really what's going on next door.
I'm just saying. It can happen anywhere.
Well, right, but nobody's, starting a fucking gang war next door to my house here.
Gang war? No. You owe me money? Yes.
I feel like
Where's
that's
my money,
sloppy.
druggie?
Yeah, that's sloppy. She's a drunk, not a druggie. Anyways, I walk over to the car that had been parked in front of her house for 4 or 5 days at that point. I had come to find out it was her sister's car because I let my kids play with the girl next door, which I hadn't done for a long time because she's a potty mouth and a thief and a bad influence, and her older sisters are bad influences on her. And she's like, I don't want those fucking shitty people around my kids.
Robin Downey Jr.? I'm just going to call her Downey because of Down syndrome.
Yeah. No, And then I get closer to the car, and I see that the windshield is smashed.
Nice.
And then I see a hunk, like a paver block in the grass. And I go, uh-oh. Holy shit. I knock on the door. I hear some fucking commotion inside. A kid opens the door. I'm pretty sure it's the oldest kid. The kind of dee one. And so then she says to her mom, somebody did something to Auntie's car. And then my neighbor pokes her head around the corner. And she's like, oh, hang on, I'll be right back. She disappears. I'm pretty sure to put some clothes on because she was probably getting dicked. And then she looks back and she's like, what happened? Like, the car. There. She's like, yeah, it's my sister's. I'm like, well, somebody just smashed the windshield. Oh. Well, thanks for telling me. Like,
You don't want to ask if I saw anything?
do you want me to call the police or are you going to? She's like, no, I'll just tell my sister about it. And I went, what the fuck kind of shit is that?
Your boyfriend smashed your windshield again.
That was my first theory.
Probably sold all your clothes, too.
Well, I asked her, I'm like, do you have any beef with anybody down the block? There's a couple of unsavory characters living on the opposite end of my long street. She's like, no, my sister might, though, with other people. I'm like,
Jesus Christ.
for fuck's sakes.
Why do you still live here?
Price of houses, nowhere to go.
Look up by my house. They're not that much more expensive.
I wouldn't live where you live. It's way less safe than where I live.
I don't know.
Who worked in a jail for 11 years? Raise your hand. How come you're not raising your hand?
Hi. I think I worked in a jail.
No, you didn't. You didn't. I know a lot of fucking bad shit that's gone on in your neighborhood that you don't know about. A lot of hardcore druggies.
I know there's drugs in the neighborhood, but...
No, I mean meth and heroin.
Yeah, no, I know.
And cartel
They're
dealers.
the one that got... I know one dude that... I don't know if it's personal use or not, but he's got hash. And there's another house that not once, not twice, but thrice had been raided by police, but those people don't live there anymore.
Go figure.
Nice husband and wife and 2 little boys. Family moved in there. So,
Well, that's good.
yeah.
If she would just move to, like, Columbia Heights or something where the rest of the riffraff are, right on that north side border, fucking go. You'd fit right in. I've said to her many times in the past, go the fuck back to the trailer park, trash. She's not going to call the cops, so I do. And I'm describing the vehicle, and I go to the back of the vehicle to get the license plate and the make and model. And then I stand up, and I see, oh, holy shit, there's a half a cinder block through the back window, too. And I'm telling this to the dispatcher. So then, I go in the house, I wait for the cops to show up, he shows up, I talk to him. Well, there's 2 more hunks of cinder block in the street I didn't even see because of how dark it was. The street light's on the opposite end of this 4-house stretch.
Oh, so this is at night. Okay.
12:30 in the morning, I said.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That little girl answered the door at 12:30 in the morning.
Well, I woke him up because I kept knocking, and
Oh.
this was probably like a 14-year-old.
No, even my 14-year-olds, my 16-year-old, they're in bed by 11. I tell them to.
It's a circus next door. They don't really have bedtimes. I don't think they care about anything. She's been investigated by CPS before. Unfortunately, they didn't take the kids. So then the cop, he takes some pictures. I'm like, holy shit. There's not just one smash in the front windshield. There's a crack on the other side, too. Then there's a big dent on the fucking partition of the driver's side door. So they threw 4 pretty big pieces of concrete or paver block at this car and then just drove away. That was Easter morning. Did you see the white car still parked out in the street when you got here?
Yeah.
Guess what? They've done nothing with it.
God damn it.
9 days, they haven't done anything with that car. It's just sitting there. Back window still smashed out. They haven't put a bag over it or nothing. Nobody's come to pick it up. So I'm getting ready to report it to the city because that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that you would have thought was bad enough. Fast forward to this past Friday here a few days ago. I put the girls to bed. The juice comes out because she can't sleep. We fall asleep on the couch. 3 o'clock in the goddamn morning, I hear some commotion outside. And then I get up and I look. I don't see anybody. And then I hear knock, 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 knock. I'm like, the fuck is that? I look. I don't see anybody. I hear knock, 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 knock again. By the time I get to the window, I see what I can only presume is her boyfriend walking across the lawn back to the house for whatever reason, coming from the brothers Dim over at that residence. I don't know. So I was like, this is fucking stupid, you assholes. I couldn't fall back asleep for 2 hours because I was alarmed. You never know what's going on. I'm like, there's some shit about to go down that I need to listen for so that I can give a witness account.
I could give you an app for the dispatch for the county. So you can listen to all the EMS calls and police calls and everything. Sometimes it's pretty interesting to listen to.
Sometimes.
We'll listen to it at work when we have a road closure we're supposed to do for a fatality. Mm-hmm. And we'll listen to it so we know exactly what's going on and we know when we need to skedaddle to get back out there. I mean, they call anyways, but we'll listen to it.
To help you scrape some of the brains off the pavement?
I don't have to do that, no.
Well, that's good.
In fact, we're not even allowed to get close enough to see anything.
What the fuck?
Well, we're not supposed to.
What are you supposed to be doing there then?
We close the road and we drive all the way around the other side like a detour and close that side of the road. Because it's a crash scene, so we can't drive through it.
I suppose if it's a fatality, yeah.
Yeah.
Neat. So then the next night, I am putting the girls to bed. I'm fucking dead on my ass tired because I didn't sleep for shit the night before. And I get to laying in bed, and it's 11 o'clock, and I'm starting to doze off. And I hear some fucking talking outside. They're around the fire. That's one thing. But it's like two people kind of shouting directions back and forth. Not angrily, but still. And then I heard like... like that, right?
That's angry knocking.
I heard that 3 more times. 3 more sets of that shit before I finally went, fuck this. And I went outside. And I let them know that I was upset. And I didn't do it in a cordial manner.
I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, I believe, if I recall correctly, he went, hey, fuckface, what is with all the goddamn banging? It's 11 o'clock. I don't care if it's the weekend. My kids are trying to sleep. What the hell are you banging on over there? Well, it was the boyfriend working on the back sliding glass patio door that had come out of track. Probably because one of them drunkenly fucking walked into it. So bitch face herself is at the fire. And she starts talking, and I'm like, bitch, please. And she's like, bitch! And then she starts talking to me like she's black. She's very white.
You're a bitch.
And she's standing there on the opposite side of the chain link fence as me. And she's cussing at me through the bushes. And she's starting to slur. I'm like, take the fucking dick out of your mouth. I can't understand you. You're white, you know that, right? And then she comes around to my side of the fence. I bladed my stance like I may have to kick a motherfucker. But she stayed a good 10 to 12 feet away from me. And blah, 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 blah. And then I forget what it was she said that pissed me off. And I pull out my phone. I rang up dispatch. Not 911, county dispatch. I have it on fucking contact safe.
I do too, but for a wholly different reason.
Yeah. So she's like, whatever, call the cops, bitch. And don't even let your punk ass kids come over and play with my kid no more. I don't want to see him. And I'm like, really? Really? Trash?
You're going to take it out on the kids?
That's just unnecessary. I wanted to be like, hey, my kids are on the honor roll. Your kids are all going to be statistics. For fuck's sakes.
Inmate of the month.
It's like a race between your oldest two to see which one of them's going to crap out a kid first. And I so desperately wanted to say, move the fuck to the ghetto so that you fit in. There's a lot of elderly people that live around here, and you don't fit the mold. You are the problem house on the block. I guarantee it. How do I know? Because I'm the one that's had to call the fucking cops on you the most.
You know, you don't need to pound on a screen to get it back on track. You
The
need a
glass
screwdriver.
door. The fucking door, dude, not the sliding
Okay,
screen.
if it's not how the fuck do you knock that off track? I couldn't even get mine off track on purpose to grease the fucking wheel.
Well, you probably didn't almost smash through it drunkenly, and she was fucking shit-faced.
Jesus Christ.
So anyways, the cops come. Suddenly, she's got a much different demeanor. And he's like,
officer, how are you doing? Would you like tea and crumpets?
She's like, yeah, he called because he heard some banging and we're trying to fix the deck door. And the cop is like, does that have to be done tonight?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, yeah, we're trying to do it, but we're done now. He's like, so you're done banging? He's like, okay. As they're walking away, I was like, fuck, he didn't even talk to me. What the fuck? And then
he probably knows whose house it is.
On the way back to the car, he's like, oh, I got to go to that other call. So he had a call stacked. So this was low priority. And then the neighbor comes walking through. Older of the two brothers, Dim, the normal one, with his dog. He's like, okay, well, I'll get some screws and we'll try to put that track back in place tomorrow. You had to seriously fuck a door up to take a sliding glass door and break the screws so it comes off a track. Holy shit. Now, one thing that I failed to mention that is an interesting piece of contextual information is when I was on the phone with dispatch and I'm telling them they're out here raising hell and banging on their patio door trying to fix their sliding door, and I'm trying to sleep, and it's loud. It's way too goddamn loud. Well, okay, have you talked to them? Like, oh yes, just full disclosure, I did let it be known how I felt, and I was not quiet, and I did use some vulgar language. If I could hear the playback of me saying that, it'd be great. I wish I had the tape of that, because that's exactly what I fucking said. But hey, I haven't seen them in a few days. They've been hiding inside. And part of why she didn't get any closer to me, I found this shit out when I went digging into her criminal record, is she got a D-dub last September. She's on probation. She gets in trouble again, she's going for 80 days to jail.
Oh, I see an opportunity here.
Right, and months prior to that, she was charged with and convicted of violation of an order for protection, which I can only assume is her old boyfriend who she used to tune up that doesn't live there anymore. He went to go live with his mom, I think.
See, get out of the relationship. There's somewhere to go.
Yeah, eventually. I think he had to beg his mom, and she had to move to the area so that he could be around his kid. Yay! So you would think that those two stories alone were enough for this episode, but I'd like to do things in threes.
You do.
Yes. So if we go from the story of the next door neighbor's sister's car in the street with the smashed windows, right?
Yeah.
2 weeks later, because it's been a while since we recorded that episode, the girls are playing with the next door neighbor kid, who mentions to them her aunt is going to prison for 5 years. And I went, excuse me, what? And they're like, yeah. And they told me the first name of the aunt, which I then matched with the last name of the next door neighbor cunt. And then I found recent arrest records pertaining to that name. So there was like a trap house. It's where they sell drugs or keep drugs.
Okay.
It's a drug house for drug sellers.
Shut up.
And the cops showed up and there was meth and people got arrested. It was fucking crazy. And I don't even think that was the recent one. That was like 2017. Well, something happened the other day where she got arrested again and she was in jail. And I looked at the picture. I'm like, this bitch looks familiar. I don't know why. I thought she might have used to work at Blainebrook when I lived over there. And I would go there like every weekend, 2 nights a week to hang out with my friends. Well, it turns out that the convict delinquent sister of the next door neighbor cunt went to my elementary school, my K-8 Catholic school. That's how I recognized her. It
Wow.
just like fucking sprang into my
To
mind.
take a youthful age of an elementary school child and remember them as an adult. Like, I bet you I could look at most of the kids I went to elementary school with and not recognize them.
Well, I went to see if she had a Facebook page, which most people do, and then I saw the pictures and I went, wait a minute. That's when some of the older photos kind of jogged my memory. I'm like, oh, she looks like, holy shit, it's somebody I used to know. Mm. So that's how small of a world. I'm wondering if the next door neighbor lady who I don't like so much, the drunkie bitch, if she went to my Catholic elementary school too, that'd be an interesting twist of fate, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. Especially coupled with the fact that she talks like she's from the ghetto when she gets drunk and tries to get in people's faces. Like, you're not from the ghetto. You're from the suburbs. I know it for a fact now, so shut the fuck up. So there's that. Tonight I just wanted to talk about,
Shitty neighbors.
Neighborhood fuckery.
See, I don't have stories like that at my neighborhood. I live in a cul-de-sac, so I just have the two brothers that live with their mom. The brothers are probably 50 years old by now. And, I don't see them ever moving out. And every once in a while, those idiots, on 4th of July usually, around 11:30 at night, decide, okay, everyone else is done launching fireworks. Let's launch some of our own. It only lasts a couple of minutes because, they don't buy that many. But that's honestly the only story I have about any of my neighbors.
I wish that's how often I saw those two dingleberries across the street, because he comes walking up to me this past weekend. Hey, so the other night somebody stole a bike from up by our garage with a chain link fence. You see anything? And I wanted to be like, why the fuck could I be watching your goddamn garage in the middle of the night? I get that I'm very eagle-eyed, neighborhood watch-minded, but I'm not sitting there at all time of day with binoculars peeking through the goddamn blinds like Shia LaBeouf in Suburbia.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Or to use a better, older reference, I'm not the kid in the movie Fright Night. 80s vampire movie.
Oh, okay. No, I remember. Yeah. Just trying to remember the kid's name. Wasn't it Peter?
Could have been. I don't know. I just watched it last week, but all this other shit's gone on, so I forgot.
That actually was kind of a good movie.
So if you're in my neighborhood, you probably should do the loud, noisy dickery during daylight.
Before 10.
And not 15 feet from my bedroom wall.
Where's their sliding glass? Is it closer to your house than... Their driveway's on the opposite side of their house from your house, isn't it?
Yes, but the sliding glass door is 15 feet away.
Yeah,
probably.
So if their driveway's over there, then that means their sliding door would be closer to yours.
Yeah. Anyways, I can't wait for the next chapter of fights between me and Drunky Magoo next door. Oh, boy.
Maybe you'll get lucky and they'll move.
I said to the beast that I was so fed up I wish the house would burn down with all of them in it. Now, if that happens, it's not because I did it. That's just an odd coincidence. That's not a statement of premeditation.
Yeah.
Okay. Lightning strike, like natural, like a gas appliance explodes. Not man-made. By me. Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It. That is at What Do We Call It. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann.
And I'm number one fan Tim.
And that's the end.